Okay, I'm here with Lord Chris from Monckton. Why do you think big events like this concentrate on these strange concepts such as climate change, sustainable development, global warming, rather than what you mentioned, the actual ecocide of chopping down trees and polluting rivers and destroying the planet that we can actually scientifically evidence?
It's very much easier for bureaucrats and politicians to extract money out of people by vague threats of global damage than it is to look specifically at the individual real environmental problems. If one looks at many of those environmental problems, some of them have been solved. In the West, for instance, air pollution is more or less entirely a thing of the past. That's a slight exaggeration, but we're getting close to that situation. In the third world countries, of course, there's still a much greater distance to go. On deforestation, I think last year, for the first time, there was more growth in the Amazon basin than there was logging. Now that's a promising indication, but I don't think we can relax at all on that one yet either. But you see, these problems are relatively contained. They're relatively cheap to deal with. It's not too expensive to provide Brazil and other countries with major forest resources, with a bit of help from Western countries to make sure that rather than falling prey to the logging companies, bribing them to allow them to chop down vast acreages, instead we give them some money to say, no, please don't let the logging companies do this. If they're going to do it, let it be done in a sustainable way. It's perfectly possible, even in the Amazon basin, to cut forests down, provided you do it in a limited way and allow it to regenerate, so that you don't clear vast acreages which then the soil dries out and you can't plant anything within a year or two of having taken down the forest. But of course all of this, though very important and very achievable, is very unexciting to bureaucrats and politicians and the media who want to see the West taken apart, who want to see vast resources taken from taxpayers' pockets and spent on creating global bureaucracies. And you can't create global bureaucracies to deal with deforestation because this is a problem which affects certain countries only. Likewise, you don't need a global bureaucracy to deal with water supply issues, because these too are issues that apply to certain countries only. In Scotland, we have no water supply issue. I can assure you, it rains all the time. So what they're trying to do here is to globalize the environment, but not because the environment is a global concern. In most cases it isn't. It is a series of individual national concerns which have international implications when a river flows from one country to another, for instance. But what we need to do, I think, is, as you have rightly done in your campaign, to focus on those parts of the environment that humankind is directly damaging, and concentrate on making sure that we do not continue that damage, and that where possible we make good the damage that we have done so far. That focused approach would be a much better and much worthier aim for a conference such as this than these vague titles such as sustainable development, which when we sent a camera around a few days ago to ask delegates here what they thought it meant, nobody could produce a coherent definition. It means different things to different people, and that is exactly what they always intended.